all this. Emmy helps him see the facts they have. They know the aliens attack Russia in 2048, but nobody sees the ships arrive. Maybe that's the year they start moving, but they arrive before, and nobody notices because it's in the middle of a frozen nowhere in Russia. So they need to start looking at years before that. The next day, Dan immediately jumps into action. He visits Dorian and convinces him this isn't over yet, then they take Dorian's trophy claw to the lab Charlie works at. Charlie confirms there's sediment on the claw that looks like volcanic ash that came from either China or Korea. They don't understand how Asian ash can end up in Russia, meaning they need to ask a volcano expert. Next, Dan goes to see his student Martin, who explains there was a huge volcanic eruption in Asia thousands of years ago. If the ash was blown by the wind, it could have gotten caught in Russian waters, which eventually became ice. This means the creatures have always been here on Earth, frozen under hundreds of layers of ice. That's why they never saw the ships arrive. The reason why they wake up in 2048 is that's when climate change finally finishes melting all the polar ice. They take this theory to the government, but since they don't have any proof, they aren't given the resources to find the alien nest. They need to do this the illegal way, and Dan knows just the right person. His father James, who has been living off the grid for years and has his own plane. Hearing Dan say "I need your help" convinces James to help with the mission, no matter how crazy it sounds. Dan also gets in contact with Harte, who worked with Murray in the future and is ready to finish her beloved leader's mission. Harte brings a few soldiers with her, plus plenty of weapons and some copies of the toxin. The team travels to Russia, and Charlie promises this time he won't hide. When they make it to the Academy of Sciences glacier, they begin looking around the area for signs of anything strange. They stop when they discover their machines are going crazy because there's a weird magnetic field surrounding them. Using lots of explosives, the team opens a hole in the ground and enters an ancient cavern, where they finally find the frozen spaceship. Dan points out that entering the ship is extremely dangerous and they could go tell the government they've found proof, but everyone agrees the government has been useless and it's up to them to make things right. They use a chainsaw to cut through the ice and the team enters the ship while leaving Charlie and James outside in case something tries to escape. The group reaches